please appreciate the property, but understand that things you're looking at are 20 years old.
Yeah.
So, you know, this beautiful sign, you know, it tells the story of weather conditions around here. But what you're looking out in front of you is a restored shoreline project 20 years in the making. In 2004, this boardwalk had to be removed because it was so unstable. It was a cliff, so everything you're looking at in front of you has grown since then. And that's in partnership with Palm Bay, with the National Scenic Byway, Florida Inland Navigation District, and a whole variety of others have played a role in that. So thank you, and you can see the condition of the boardwalk, its age, that sort of thing. So that's something we need to tackle. But as you can see, it's a beautiful property. Ted Moorhead Lagoon House, we have a good building. It was built with longevity in mind. The metal roof, the cementitious siding, you know, made to last for 50 instead of 20 years. And a variety of other features. So we've had the city engineers out over the last year taking a hard look at the building. It's in good shape. So that's good news. Go ahead. You had a question?
No, I'm just happy to see that welcome sign is still there.
Yeah, we're going to touch it up here real soon. We've got some things we're going to do. We're going to go down this way.
Yeah, those of you who lived here, maybe Tim can actually feel it a little bit more. There was an old motel here years ago. And,
yes, there was an old motel that the gentleman, I guess, sold the property to FDOT, and he actually made a donation for the site, for the development. I think he paid for the furniture or something.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a nice spot for a hotel.
And if I remember correctly, the Water Management District bought some of the property, some of the adjacent property too, and it went to the city, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's multiple grants, the largest being the National Scenic Byway, $800,000, and then other grants with the state, up over to about approximately 1.2 million, as I recall.
So we're on about a 10-acre property here. We're looking into the North Woods. We don't go into the North Woods. The shell mound that used to be on the property was higher than the building that you see now. It was excavated by our friends at FDOT, as the story goes. When I was a kid, all the roads in Brevard County had shells in them. It was a very common thing. But this shell mound was excavated. It also was the home to the Riverview Motel. So the Riverview Motel was a very popular place. Was here for a long time. People came from all over to fish and enjoy the water. And the Riverview Motel folks actually contributed to the construction of the Ted Moorhead Lagoon House. So they were part of the dream. So the North Woods has the middens, or the shell mound. It also has some rare native plants. It is accessible mostly from the water. I like to go down there in my waders and wander up through here, but it's pretty twisted, so we won't go in there today. And then we're gonna take a little look at the mangrove nursery. Yes, sir. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what we want to talk to you about today, and as we go forward, is what's the best vision for this property. So we have a mangrove nursery satellite. In Sebastian, we have another 10-acre property which we actually own and manage as a conservation property. It has a licensed mangrove nursery, and we have about 2,000 mangroves there. So we up-pot and we sell. Mangroves are currently in high demand, low supply. So we're kind of filling a gap that the industry doesn't currently fill completely. And it's a great educational tool. A lot of people will find propagules and they'll grow them in their windowsills and then bring them here, hundreds of them. So it's a fun thing. We see a lot of potential. It's just very hands-on, puts people in touch with
What do you sell them for?
we have a pricing schedule I could share with you.
I'm just curious because
Depends on the size.
Okay.
So,
Like $50?
Less.
Less. Okay.
yeah.
Well, if you get a 5-gallon, you probably go.
For the big mature ones,
over 50.
Are any of them used, as a, project
Absolutely.
for planting?
Yeah.
What percentage? Because when I found out they were being sold to some company down south, I was kind of.
Well, we ship all over the world.
Yeah,
So
that's
there have
what I
been
heard.
hurricanes in the
Yeah.
in the Caribbean where
Right.
there's mangroves that have to be replaced. We've shipped them off to various aquariums around, like in Chicago, Canada. Which seems a little odd, but they have mangroves.
Right?
Yeah. We would love to do more here. So if we can find the projects, we would do them. That's, I think, becoming more possible because there's more resources coming into the lagoon now, or promised resources, so that's good. We're going to go this way. Watch your step. This is the working area, so I always caution people, rather than see them trip. We'll take a look at the retention pond. Really impressed with this all. Ask any questions. Don't. I think I've got to talk all the time. What's that? In the macros, we don't really host. Okay. We're doing pretty good. Are you in touch with Mara? Yeah, a little bit. So we're getting ready to go to the Botanical Fest. The Botanical Festival is this weekend on Saturday in Melbourne. We'll also be at the Grand Barcaria Seafood Festival. So we have a lot of public work that we do. One tool we use is rain barrels. So we use that as a way to slow the flow. What we tell people is everyone can slow the flow because you live somewhere and you work somewhere. Retain the water, slow it down. What happens in Florida is we just took the landscape and tilted it toward the lagoon instead of putting in pipes. So now we're going back and putting in all the pipes we didn't put in, and while we do that, we've got to slow the flow is our basic message. So you see all the rain barrels ready to go. Again, watch your step. So the original vision for the property had to do with the expansion of Highway 1. So as it became 6 lanes, we had to retain water as a community, so this pond was envisioned. And our vision as an organization has been to use it as an example of a living shoreline. So we have a little acronym we're working on right now. We're going to talk to the community about as we go forward. We're going to say, hey, Florida, stop burping. So burping is big, ugly retention ponds. So we're going to ask people to stop burping and instead plant a living shoreline around every retention pond in the state of Florida to create habitat and various things. This has some invasives. It also has some natives. There's some rare butterflies. There's some various things going on here. A whole variety of birds come through, and we currently have a 4-foot alligator. Likes to hang out on the old dock down there from time to time.
Got a nice mangrove growing there.
Yep, that's an experiment. So, will they survive?
They do.
Yeah, they do.
Various conditions. Thanks for noticing.
Ken, one more question.
Yes, please.
When the Florida Atlantic University had their symposium last week, one of the presenters was a public works fellow from down south somewhere, and he was talking about adding grasses into the stormwater ponds and the systems. Is there any vegetation on the bottom in there that you know about?
We are not familiar with the bottom, but as we
The alligator might be.
Yeah, we've talked to him, but he won't answer us. But I think those types of ideas are what we're looking for. We would like this to become a much more interactive and experiential place, so that there would be levels. You know, my brain goes. I've worked in large like zoos, aquariums, and stuff like that, more in the Western United States. But I could see, going through a tube, and looking at the bottom of the pool.
Well, that would be cool.
Yeah, it's like, why not?
That
As long as it's respectful of nature, I think we would love to explore it and find a way to make this a place that truly is worthy of the Lagooniverse. Watch your step. It's narrow.
Well, the guy from the public works department was a freshwater species.
Yeah.
It wasn't a seagrass.
It was Dalsonary.
Yeah, there you go.
I was remote.
Oh, you? Hey, how did I do? Did you
I didn't catch all of it for one reason or another.
You got to step down here, folks.
Well, my connection.
3 minutes.
We're going to make 2 more stops.
What I saw was good. How's
So
that?
from here, folks, we're going to go over to this corner and then go into the south woods. Excuse the plastic. We've been chopping rainbows now.
Well, we gotta put a tarp down first.
Oh, you should go inside.
Can't believe this thing's still up. Here. This is
We're here too.
about a decade.
So
I remember him too.
A little bit.
He's one of our board members and founders.
B with a B, right?
Chalmers.
Chalmers.
Yeah.
I was just telling him I used to work here.
We're gonna keep going because I'm being told to move along.
Okay.
You can see the original funding sign and also the name of the park, Ice Lookout Point Park. The Ice were the natives who lived in this area. They're kind of an unknown tribe. One of the visions we have as we go forward in the property is to celebrate and you know, research and make their history known.
Yeah.
So that's part of the deal.
What did they found?
Wild coffee here.
Yep. Yeah, the city put these in. Well, if we had more time, I would, but I think we're going to stay up here because I can show you the water line from up here.
At one time, they talked about an elevator. Way back.
We
in the
still
very
chat
beginning.
about things like that.
How to be accessible.
The question was asked, can we go to the water? We can. The water's extremely low. You can walk the entire property. But I think because of sunlight and time, I'm going to take you this way and we're going to look down onto the property.
You can always come back after. Yeah.
After the meeting, if you want to walk the shoreline, I'll be glad to do that with you. It only takes a few minutes. I'm going to show you two overlooks out here. Watch your step. It's very
Well, I remember this when the homeless lived here. And then they paid the homeless to move all their garbage out.
She's new.
Oh, I'm glad to hear someone took over.
Yeah.
I thought it kind of just
I
went to
think
the guys
Warren.
in Orlando.
No, Warren and everybody kind of stepped off, stepped to the side, and propped her up. And she's fantastic.
Oh, thank God. I was feeling so good.
I don't feel guilty about that. Nice native. That was Johnny Appleseed.
We were about to do a bunch of planting at
As you see these exit points, that's where the city comes in for fire access, also to mow. In front of the forest is where we envision parking eventually, and that's where the parking was originally platted, just so you know. So we do have parking possibilities. We're going to come back to this one.
Oh, fun. Hatchy grass.
Shaq's a hatching.
I think that's the. Yeah, the butterfly. Like very lunch on thing.
spotting
Yes.
So you probably noticed as you come through the woods, there are a series of really great overlooks, which we see as an opportunity as time goes forward. One of the challenges that we deal with is it's a natural environment, and you can see the degradation of the bluff. Much of what you're looking at is recent from the last two storms. These two trees were up here, so they've slid down and joined the evergreen. There's a whole variety down here that slid during the storm. Wow. The reason I like to stop here is you're looking at 11 permitted sites between the stairs and the end of our property or the park. And 4 of these 50-foot sections were developed with coquina barriers, and you can see the coquina and the growth behind them. What's interesting though is with the magnitude of the recent storm, what happened is the storm passed over the mangroves. If you get further down, you can't see them from here, but there's quite a mangrove little forest. It survived, and now it's about 2 feet deep in sand that used to be a bluff. So you've got quite a natural thing going on here. So that's part of the challenge of the property, but also from our standpoint, being a science organization, we find it incredibly interesting. So people are like, oh, is that bad? It's like, it's the condition. So it becomes part of the experience. It's like, well, what should you do? It's like, that's a very good question. So that's what we're hoping to chat a little bit about today is how do you work within this environment and deal with that? So afterward, we'll head back to the building now. We're going to make one more stop on the way. But after the meeting, if you care to, I'll walk you to the end of this series of 50-foot sections. From the stairs, it takes about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Hey, Kim, what, that's Spartina? What they plant down there?
You'd have to chat with the science folks.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's. I think
It looks like either a bulrush or a Spartina.
yeah.
One thing I'd like to do, Nick,
I do
is
see snails too.
very soon get the answers to those questions.
And then put some signage up, educate.
or at least just have something in hand to answer frequent questions.
Of course, we have an Australian.
Yeah.